Oh, you are here. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I thought you were still at the Innovation Day. Can we make you a co?
Just ended now.
Can we make you a co-presenter? Let me just see what I can see. Do you want to say hello to everybody and welcome? I've just started the recording, Tumelo.
Hello, everybody, and welcome everybody.
All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. All right. This is. I'm just looking at my team today. In the lobby is Elmarie, who's also volunteered to help Anzani in the lobby. Thank you, Elmarie, for volunteering. And then Tumelo is also in the lobby. No, he's not in the lobby. He's on the team, and he's going to welcome everybody to the session. Tumelo, over to you. Hello.
Happy Tuesday, Dr. Host and everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Today we'll be focusing on M1. This is the UNISA Science Engagement Center's live online learning session. And thank you so much for taking the time to join the session. Feel free to raise your hand during any time, as well as if you do have any questions, you can write on the chat box, and then we'll definitely answer your questions. And I'll also share the email address where you can send some of your burning questions as well. Over to you, Dr. Host, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Tumelo. Tumelo is also going to come back just now to answer all your questions. And I'm really encouraging you to really focus on the session to learn as much as possible. The good news is that all the content is available online. It's free Mahala, it's zero rated, and Tumelo at the end of the session is going to show you exactly where to access all the content that is going to be presented. And then also, if you see on the invite for May, next week we're going to kind of before and after elections, we kind of had the plan before the elections were confirmed. But anyway, so on the Tuesday and the Wednesday we're going to vote, and the Thursday we're going to go and explore some of the resources. And as much as we're going to share what we use and what we can recommend, I think it's important that you also can share with the rest of this community what you do use to advance robotics education in your school or in your community or wherever you are. So exciting times, and thank you for joining me and the team. So I'm going to do an introduction, and then I'm going to do a basic building of robots. I'm going to go through a presentation. I've got lots of robots parked all over here, so we can kind of look at all the different kinds of robots. And then we'll do some basic programming, and I'll show you how to program and what it means to program. But if you can remember that for robotics, there always has to be an engineering part, that's the building part, and the programming part. So the building part is the application of your technology concepts, like your gears, your levers, your beams, center of gravity, friction, traction. It used to be very well presented in the technology syllabus that we had in our schools. All the basic concepts are there. So that's your engineering part. Those are your engineering fundamentals. And then your programming, so that's your form. And your function is then the programming part. And kind of what happens in between is then your learners develop these 21st century skills. Well, we as coaches also need to develop these skills as well. So so you'll see whenever as we move along, there's the building, there's the programming, and then there's these 21st century skills that need to develop. All right. You as coaches or as teachers are creating opportunities for your learners to develop these 21st century skills. And the 21st century skills are the ones that are going to take them into their futures. And to upskill them that they can thrive in their future. All right. So let's just start first with an introduction. And I'm going to share my screen. And of course, this is where I need one of my team members just to say, woo, you can see it. There we go. All right. And unit naught. Okay, here we go.
Woo,
now, of course,
my screen's visible.
Yay! Thank you. All right. So this is really M1. M1 is presented in May, and so there's an M1, M2, and M3, and obviously we're going to do that in that order. So this is the, I'm just going to Miller said I must do this hide. Yeah. Okay. All right. And I'm looking at my team. You're going to just mute those unmuted. Here we go. All right. All right. So for M1, and maybe before we leap into it, let me just give you an introduction. So we are going to do wheeled robots. So we're going to do something like this, where there's wheels, there's a hub. We're going to build them. And if you have an EV3 robotics kit, that's fine. This is the little baby Riley rover that we always build. These are attachments, but they're attached to motors, so they're powered attachments, and that we're going to do in M2. This is also an M2 concept. All right. We are the UNISA Science Engagement Center. We stem from the ISET Robotics Community Engagement Project that just went, I would like to say, viral. We focus on engineering, on programming, and the 21st century skills development. And for today and tomorrow, we're going to build and program. And then tomorrow, we're going to do some navigation stuff, and we're going to do passive attachments. And hopefully you will be with us in June, because we're going to do powered attachments with gearing, and we're going to do sensors, and then we're going to introduce the concept of flow control in your programming. So that's where we change from linear repetition to decisions. All right. I think in this very turbulent times, it's important that everybody knows exactly where the UNISA Science Engagement Center fits in here. And we are here as a community of practice. We work together for the greater good of this country. And we are very happy to share everything we have. However, we do assume that you will do likewise. So this is not just take and take and take, but there comes a point where you also need to then contribute to this community of practice. And in this community are coaches with several years experience and then several days experience. And so you will learn a lot from each other. But as you learn from others, you will need to also give back to the newer ones that are coming up behind you. All right. So the UNISA Science Engagement Center here is an accredited national science center of South Africa, and we focus on robotics excellence. All right. Over here, we've got the Department of Basic Education. We all know that we have a coding and robotics curriculum for which the UNISA has created the teacher training for teachers, and we keep it on the UNISA MOOC portal, which Tumelo is going to explain just now. There are two MOOCs available there, DBE 001 and DBE 002. The DBE 001 is digital literacy, and it's highly recommended for everybody. And DBE 002 really focuses on the grade R to grade 3 coding and robotics curriculum, and you're welcome to do it. There are lesson plans. There are activities from grade R to grade 4, from term 1 to term 4, no, grade R to grade 3, term 1 to term 4, and week 1 to week 9. So you're totally covered. If you want to go and download that stuff, it's all on the UNISA MOOC portal, and Tumelo is happy to answer questions. But also on the UNISA MOOC portal are then our ISET Robotics MOOCs. They're also on that portal. We do live online learning. This is the session, and that's available on the ISET UNISA YouTube channel, all the recordings. And then a link to that, we also have short learning programs. There you get a certificate. Obviously, it's per semester, and it has an exam, and it has a portfolio. It has, so when you feel confident through going through the MOOCs first, you can always go to a short learning program. All right. The other player in the field is the Department of Science and Innovation. They have a mandated South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement. And beneath them, they have the ASTEMI board, which is responsible for all science Olympiads and competitions. And in 2020, just before we went into lockdown, they divided all the Olympiads and competitions into clusters or into segments. The maths, which is the maths Olympiads. Then you've got the innovations, which is like your ESCOM Expos. You've got your knowledge, which is your quizzes. And then last but not least is robotics and coding. And ISET is the custodian of that entire cluster. And so we work with several robotics competitions in the country. We've got the first Lego League competitions and the first Tech Challenge. We've got the World Robot Olympiad. The Conquesta is a quiz, and I will be explaining that to you next week. The Robothon is kind of a one-day only option and linked to a science fair. And then the Virtual Gear Robotics competition, that is available in the M3 MOOC. And I'll explain that to you in July when we get there. All right, so that's the landscape. If you are here for, well, I don't know which grade you're teaching, but maybe just for awareness, the grade R's, we focus mainly on STEAM, on problem solving, and there's a STEAM park, which they can build a whole lot of things. And also linked to that is the 6 Bricks initiative. And then in terms of programming, we do the unplugged coding. There are many options there, one of them being the 6 Bricks option. If you are grade 1, 2, or 3, that's the explore phase. We either use Spike Essential or we use the WeDo Robotics Kit. And then there's Scratch, Spike Essential Scratch. Obviously, you need a laptop or a tablet for that. The focus for today, though, is this grade 4 to grade 12. Oops, sorry, 4 to grade 12. We're using Spike Primes or EV3s. If you still have NXTs, let me know. We don't throw anything away. We can still use them. And then on your laptop, you either have EV3 Classroom or you have the Spike Prime software. All right. You're not alone. This is I said right at the beginning, this is a community of practice. So we have these live online learning sessions. We have all the recordings on the YouTube channel. Unfortunately, Casper has now got himself a full-time job, so he does it over weekends, but we're trying to make a plan there. There's MOOC queries, there's general queries, and the content is available on the portal. In terms of MOOCs, and Tumelo will explain this just now, we've currently got M1, M2, and M3 running. The robotics and environmental science has been presented already and will again be presented in this quarter. The cyber safety is available, and then these two, the digital literacy and the curriculum, are available, and the Python one we're busy working on. And if you'd like a invite or a link, we use exactly the same link every Friday at 3 o'clock, just for a Q&A session. So if there's any questions you have to ask. Okay. And if you're interested in short learning programs, there are 2 which need to be done in this order, either a practical option or a theory option. So either you do components and pedagogy and then problem solving, or in terms of theory, you first do the fundamentals and then you do it for the future. Okay. And the competitions, I said to you, these are the various competitions that we have. All right. So where are we right now? So we're not doing short learning programs. We're doing massive open online courses. The content is on the MOOC portal from February to November. We have an email address. You're welcome to email. If you would like to have a one-on-one discussion, please request the link there. All right. So I did not unpack all this because I thought that'll just confuse everybody. So we're doing M1. All right. The syllabus, and Tumelo will show you just now, there's an overview document, and that has everything in it that you need to know. So it's good for you to read the overview document. Also there under the syllabus.
Sorry, Doc. There's a request if you can please zoom in on the information. Not everyone can see on their screens. It's very small.
Can I do that after this present? I can't do it as I'm presenting now, but sure. I will do.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Oops, hang on. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do building the robot, which I'm going to present now. I strongly advise that you read the overview of Unit 1, then you select and complete and do some lessons. There are lesson plans to download, and then there's an MCQ for Unit 1. And then we will stop there for a tea break of a virtual half a minute, and then we'll go on to programming, and that'll be for today. Now, when you've gone through all 4 units, then you go back to syllabus and you get the assessment guide. You go and look at the MOOC 1 challenge, and then you apply all the knowledge you've learned in the 4 units, and you finish the challenge. All right. Your advantage is that several students have already completed their challenge. So you may go to the forum and you may go and see how they have completed it. But it'll be good if you can first think of it up and then do your own solution. All right. So let the journey begin. That was the introduction. I'm just going to stop a minute and stop sharing. Are there any questions? Any questions so far? I'm really grateful for the large class that we have today. So, and it'll be interesting at the end of the class to hear how many is the first time you're attending these sessions. All right, and I see they're still coming in. Thank you, Elmarie, and thank you, Tumelo and Zani. Tupelo, you've got your hand up. Yes. Hello. Do you want to unmute, Tupelo?
Yeah, how are you, Doctor?
Good, yes.
Yeah, I'm with my team here. We are 4. We are attending this lesson.
Okay.
Yeah, we are using one device.
That's awesome.
So I just want to ask about this massive online course. Are we going to get something to show that we're attending these courses?
You will get a certificate when you complete your challenge, yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank
cool.
you.
But by the time we finished on Thursday, you'll know exactly how to do your challenge. Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Yes. All right. So with no further questions, let me then start with share my screen. And then I'm going to ask again one of my team members if we can see my screen. I'm really grateful that people are still coming in. So well done. All right. And we're going to go to Unit 2, Unit 1. All right. And somebody can just, woo, that you can see my screen.
Oh, we can see your screen.
Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you. I do recognize the voice. Okay, so we're going to build, we have to build a robot. And I've got lots of, well, I've got 5 robots, 4 robots that I've got here. But you have to build it with something. All right, so we're going to build it with a robotics kit. And in the robotics kit, you get, you'll see over here, there are beams and there are gears and then there are axles over there and there are connectors and there's more connectors. We have to build a robot with something. So these are the components. All right. So whether you're using the EV3, the EV3's colors are really gray, and white and gray and black and gray and white. There's a couple of color pieces and not too many. And then I know the connectors are blue. All right. The color version of it, and Spike Prime was released really in the middle of COVID. They added a whole lot of really cool pieces, and then they added a dash of color. Okay, but they've got gears and beams and axles. These things over here, those are your sensors, those are your motors, and over here, those are what the motors look like. Oops, sorry. The motors, and there are the sensors in the front here. So it doesn't matter which one you use. And if you have an EV3 and it's not behaving, it probably just needs a firmware update. Please let us know. We have a technical department and we are happy to help you. But really just start building, and hopefully by the end of the session to understand how to build a robot. Okay. Again, this addresses the engineering part of your robot. And as you'll see from, if we move on to M2, it becomes quite a engineering feat to build attachments that can work, okay? And so you've got these 2 different robotics kits. This is what we use. And I'd like to just put it out there. This is a forgiving learning system, all right? This allows the learners to build something, build it. And if it doesn't really actually work how it's supposed to, then we dismantle it and we rebuild it. Okay, there's no such thing as making a mistake. And one of the sadnesses for me is that our learners are too scared to make mistakes because everything they do gets evaluated. Right here, there's no evaluation. Build something, you design it, you build it. If it doesn't work, we change it. It's the forgiving learning environment where you want learners to be free, to be able to explore ideas. All right. So we have one kit, one robotics kit, and we can build a gazillion different designs. So I just want to show you, this was an NXT robot. It was with an NXT brain, all right? Multiple robots, you can build it. With the same pieces, you can build this little lady, and this one is Angel. This was 2014. All right, same robotics kit, different design. All right, this is the generic Riley rover, same robotics kit, different design. And then our Mario, same kit, just different design. And what we were talking about right in the beginning was to say, our learners don't have a frame of reference. Okay, we know how to make tea because we watched our parents make tea. We know how to lock and unlock a door. We know how to do a whole lot of things because we've seen our parents do it. Okay, we learn by watching. With robotics, it's different. There is no frame of reference, so we need to build a frame of reference. So in the beginning, when your teams compete or build robots, we give them building instructions. And then slowly but surely, we get them to start adding their own designs, okay? Until they get to a point where they can build their entire robot themselves. Okay, one kit, lots of designs. And we don't break down a robot, we transform the robot into another design. It's less aggressive. Okay, just a kind of a S thing. If you have an EV3 robotics kit, we highly recommend that you move over to the EV3 classroom programming, and that's the Scratch-based. All right. The Spike Prime kit comes with a Scratch-based Spike Prime programming. Okay. And just for reference, a robotics kit consists of a core set and an expansion set. So the core set are all your basic things that you will need, and the expansion are then the cool pieces. And then just underneath it, I've just for completeness just added for the grades 1, 2, and 3, we use the Spike Essential. All right, and we're programming in Scratch there. There is an option on Spike Essential. So instead of doing the Scratch, there is just little icons, okay? And we have found that the grade 1s, because they haven't really started reading yet, or you could even use a grade R, you could actually, to use the icon-based programming. And as soon as the learners start reading, we can move over to Spike Essential Scratch. All right. Yeah. The old version with the robotics kits, the EV3 kits, was the EV3 lab programming. I'm happy to show you that as well, but I think we need to all move over to Scratch because Scratch is in the schools anyway. All right. So what robot are we building? All right. So robotics is kind of one of those terms. It's so wide and large, and so a robot can either be mobile or it can be fixed. So your fixed robot would be at a place and it has an arm, it lifts things up, it drops things, it hits things or whatever. Whereas your mobile robot can move. Okay, and currently our robots can, not our robots, but robots can move in water, move on land, and be airborne. So the airborne ones are like your drones. The aquatic ones, you must go and see what some of these robots are doing out in the sea, addressing the environmental catastrophes. It's just amazing. Okay, but we're going to focus now on terrestrial. And then to move on land, you either put wheels on it or legs. And you've seen the robots with the legs. It's really amazing. And also the spiders with their 8 legs. There's an elephant as well that we've built. I think she was Kelsey the robot or something like that. Amazing, amazing. But we're going to kind of go robot, mobile, terrestrial, and we're going to go wheeled. Let's just go wheeled for this session, and then we'll kind of keep going as we are. All right. So back to building a robot. So if you look on the M1, I said robotics M1 portal, and you look under, there is an overview document. And so each unit, there is an overview of kind of the content. Now, not all content is going to be addressed. Not all content is in focus. Not all content will be equally focused on. I'll just say it that way. Now I've got a catch here as well. No. So these are some of the questions that you can explore with your learners. So yes, we're focusing on the wheeled robot, and then you can ask your learners, well, give us some examples of different robots. Okay. Describe the function of the robot. And so a robot that works for Takealot has to find parcels, okay? Whereas the robot that is my vacuum cleaner at home has to clean, okay? and then build adaptations required to ensure the robot can function. Okay, so if it's got to lift something, well, then it's got to have something that can move up and down. If it's got to grab something, it's got to be able to grab. Okay, so those are the adaptations. And a robot is always built of components. And so it's kind of what are the basic, it needs to have wheels, it needs to have axles, it needs to have a brain or a hub, it needs to have wires to connect the motors to the brain. So all those, the components, the learner does not need to look at the robot and say, count how many connectors there are, or count how many wheels there are, although that's quite straightforward. But you must know, and here I come to my thingamajiggy and other thingamajiggy. So when teams come to present technical building skills to judges, and they say, well, this thingy, and then it's connected with that thingy. No. But if a team comes in and says, well, we've got 2 axles, and the axles connect the large motors to the large wheels, these are the wheels, and this, then it just sounds much more technical. What are we doing? We're trying to create good habits. Okay. The next thing to ensure the robot is sturdy, time and time again, I go to competitions and the learners pick up the robot and the whole robot falls apart. And that's just not okay. It's just really sad to watch. They've worked so hard. So you have to assume that your robot is sturdy and rigid and can actually be handled. All right. Don't assume that your learners know where the source of the power of the robot is, by the way. Most of the robots come with battery chargers, which need to be charged, you preferably every morning before you have class. And that's a whole in the debugging realm when you're doing the programming. So this is a structural thing that impacts on the programming. So just aside, your robots need to be fully charged, and if your robot is quite heavy and doing a lot of moves, it probably lasts about an hour. What we have found is if you have a robot that is used for too long, it starts doing strange things. And what happens then is that the learners then change the programs, and then tomorrow when they come back and their robot is fully charged, then they wonder why their robot is not working. So please make sure at all times when you're testing, especially when you're testing code, that your robot is fully charged and that it's charged in the morning before the class. Okay, then describe how the robot moves. Is it moving with wheels, small wheels, big wheels? What is the circumference? Is it going forwards, going backwards, left, right? Okay, and then how does it move? So if you want it to move right, you've got to put the right wheel off and then turn the left wheel so that you make sure that the robot turns. Okay. But learners need to be able to explain this to you. All right. In the document, they're building objectives for Unit 1, and each objective has an activity. So build a wheeled robot, build a different wheeled robot, build a chassis with motors below the brain, mounted vertically on the side. I'm going to show you this Constructopedia. There's some really amazing designs, and it's important that the learners know how to put it together and then how to put wheels on to make it move. And so that is a whole lesson in and of itself. Okay. And that's what it looks like. But I'll show you now what the document looks like. Whenever we have a brain, it needs to be connected to our sensors, and it needs to be connected to the motors, and we have wires for that. And I always say it must click. It's almost like the click of the, so if you click it in here, it must click like that of a, click, there we go, a seatbelt. All right, it must click in. And for the Spike Prime, it doesn't matter into which port you put it, but with the EV3s, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are for your inputs, and so that's your sensors, and A, B, C, and D are your outputs, and so that's your motors, because those are the outputs. It's always input, process, output. For this M1, we're not doing inputs, we're just doing outputs, and so, yeah. All right. And that is your brain, or the robot's brain, okay? And then the battery pack goes underneath, but that should be fully charged when you start a class, okay? The input ports, there's the touch sensor, the gyro sensor, the color sensor, and the ultrasonic. And then at the back is your output ports, although front and back doesn't really matter. It depends how you orientate your brain, okay? You'll see it looks pretty similar. the spike brain or hub with the motors and the sensors. Okay. All right. So what is the build focus? When you're building, there's always an input, a process, and an output. Your input is your sensors. Your processing is the coding that you're writing, and then the output is your wheels that are moving. Okay. These are all things that you either present like a once-off, or you can present it as a note when something doesn't go wrong or does go right. You can say, you remember about friction and traction. Center of gravity, especially in the bigger robots, it will topple, and I know the forklift gives you a problem with it. They must know what wheels and axles and pulleys are. They must know what gears are. They must know about backlash, mechanical efficiency. We will do the engineering design process. We'll do that, I think, in Unit 4. So tomorrow afternoon, we'll do the engineering design process. Just embrace it. Okay. Okay, so now by this time you're saying, okay, so where do I build my robot? How do I build my robot? So here's the good news. There are a plethora of resources available. And obviously we will kind of focus you on the ones that work for us. But there are different formats. And I'm really appealing to you, before you do a robotics class, prepare well. Just prepare, please, 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 please prepare. You'll see here is building a robot designs. There's a Spike Prime building designs. So here are all the robots, the different kinds of robots. If you've got EV3s, EV3 lessons is a good site to use. If you're doing Spike Prime lessons is good. It's not the be all and end all, though. There are lots of other activities that you can use. Okay, and there's more. So here are all the building instructions. I actually think it's just sometimes just too overwhelming. All right, but I want to pause here and say your learners need to build their own robots. Please don't build a robot for them. Even if they are struggling, even if you think they're too young, even if you, whatever your excuse, please, you as the coaches, you as the teachers, you do not touch their robot, you do not touch their code. They must do it themselves. It might take a little longer, but we are developing lessons. Just also on the side here, I'd see at the bottom here, there's different kinds of robots. On the Spike Prime app, there's a lot of building instructions for not wheeled robots, but just weird things as well. And so there's some fun lessons there. And so you can interrupt your building your competition robot maybe with some fun building activities. And we're trying to put that all together as well. All right. So how do you build a robot? Well, you follow building instructions, and there is no language issue to this. So for this example, this is step number 3. You take an axle of length 4. And now I need to show you, how do you know how long the axle is? All right. So if you have an axle, and if you have a beam, and you hold the axle next to the beam, and then I'm trying to do this in 3 dimensions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 holes. So this is a 7 axle. All right. And for this building instruction, you need a 4 axle. All right. Then you need one of those. You need one connector, one axle connector, and one connector with friction and non-friction on the other side. What do you do with it? You stick this one into there, and what you do with that, you stick this thing into here. That's step 3. Now, to encourage teamwork, what we often do is we have one learner operates the laptop, the other and tells the person in the box what to look for. They get the things out. Then the third one takes the pieces and explains to the builder what to do with it. Okay, and then you move them all down, down a place, and then so the one is just built becomes the computer operator. It's all about getting everybody involved. What we don't want are teams of 1 solo learners. It doesn't do anything for collaboration. Okay. And read the building instructions. It's not that straightforward. All right. free. That's what you need, that you need, and that you need. You put this together, and voila, that's finished. All right. Now, except this is now, you can read step number 22. You need one of these things, and you need to turn the robot upside down, and you put it in there. Okay. 22, turn it upside down. Now, if you don't want to have a paper-based, and please don't print the building instructions, just keep it on the screen. And that is also an issue, just FYI, because you're doing 2D designing on a 3D object, okay? So it doesn't come very quickly for many learners. It might take a little longer. All right. Here's another option. You lay out all your pieces, ding, 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 on the floor, on the table or whatever, and then you watch the video and then you build your robot. And luckily, you can put the pause button. All right. Here is classroom activities for busy teachers. Teachers are busy, whether it's a Spike Prime or EV3 or whatever. So there's various books like this. I just noticed that one of the, I think it was this one. You have to pay for it, but I'm appealing to you, please don't pay. We've got enough classroom activities to keep you busy, all right? However, there are some building instructions that you can download and with attachments. I'll show you that now, okay? And so you build it step by step, okay? But these are free. Why do we do building? The whole thing of 3D thinking, our learners are used to paper, okay, in front of them, an A4, nothing more, nothing less. They need to do 3D printing. They need to reach over. They need to put down. They need to cross over the middle line. They need to look at a picture and say, what will it look like in 3D? Following instructions. Yeah, I think some of us as adults also don't follow instructions. The learning vocabulary. Please ensure that when they build a robot, they don't talk of thingies and other thingies and that long thingy. It's beams and it's wheels and it's wires and it's sensors and it's the hub. And please stick to vocabulary, okay? Problem solving, no, that if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, and it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They need to be able to solve them. Please, for you as coaches, don't bombard them with the answers. Don't give them the answers, because actually what we want is we want teamwork, all right? Let them build it together. Yes, I know you could have done it quicker, but please don't do it. Let the learners do it, okay? It's them that need the teamwork. All right. Oh, this is one of my banes. There's no fun with incomplete robotic sets. There's no fun, because a robot with 2 wheels is much better than a robot with 1 wheel. A robot with 1 wheel just doesn't. All right. So I'm appealing to you that there must be enough time for cleanup. All right. And an organized tray means an organized mind, means organized thinking, means an organized approach to life. Okay, this just doesn't cut it for me. I'll tell you what's wrong. This brain is tethering on a charger cable that's connected to this thing. And I don't know whether you can see it, but the cable goes all the way around the back of these bags. So if somebody pulls their bag here and pulls this extension cord and pulls this down, that will be 7,000 Rand on the floor, smashed. Okay, not a good idea. These pieces lying around, not a good idea. These little rubber bands are worth their weight in gold. Do not leave them lying around. You can't have pieces and other pieces. And this is the first time that it's going to fly off the floor and it's going to be swept up and it's going to be disappeared forever. All right. This is not a storage for paper either. This is a robotics kits. They need to be sorted and stay sorted. All right. So that you can see at a glance, there's a sensor missing. There's a wheel missing. There are axles missing. You know what the full set should look like. Okay. You as a coach, however, are not expected to clean up. You make sure that if your class ends at 4 o'clock, nobody goes home until all the kits have been packed up. With the initial kits that we sent out, we put material bands around them to keep everything together, just to keep it neat and tidy, which does work. All right. So if a team member needs to go home, they need to wait till everybody is ready to go home. If the parents have made special arrangements, please don't encourage early learning from the robotics class. Please don't encourage that. All right. My team's always worked on trays, so I have a whole lot of trays where all the pieces are so they don't fall on the floor. You've got to have space. The pieces on the floor is enough to drive me insane, but keep the pieces on trays when you build. And I'm just looking here, even the girls at the back were building on trays. See how well trained they are. That's how we build. Okay, keep boxes sorted, keep inventory and clean the kits regularly. Not the electronics though, but just the Lego pieces. After a year of competitions and robotics lessons every afternoon, they do tend to get a little bit dirty. Except for the motors and the electronics, which you can't wash. Everything else you can, like a little bit of soapy water, and just wash them off, and then just leave them to dry in not in direct sun, just in a warm place. Okay. Then your brick, your brain. Well, I said keep it charged. There needs to be firmware updates as well, and so if you're struggling with that, please let us know. Also, just to keep these files, sometimes your whole memory just gets chock-a-block with files which need to be cleared. And your wires, if you pull them too hard, they're going to break. All right, you need to unclick it. But things go wrong, and so there's Mr. Hino did give us what can go wrong when your robot starts working. What's that? Kind of debugging of your robot is a whole new thing that you will also go through it into. Okay, there are all the building instructions. So there's Riley Rovers, EV3 lessons, the Prime lessons. The YouTube videos will show you how, but just be aware that it's not, oh wow, and then you get despondent learners. And my favorite, still my favorite, is Builder Dude 35, a young boy who started robotics kind of just as I was getting started, and he's got a book already. And then last but not least, and I maybe have it in bold letters, this is your online community. Please connect with us. Please talk to us. Come to the QA sessions on a Friday. If you're a grant holder, come to the grant holder meetings. If you come to these discussion classes, please join us. There's just unasked questions are just so debilitating. All right. So now we're at the end of Unit 1. I would one overview document, read Unit 1, the objectives, then attempt at least one building activity, at least one. I'd like you to do all 7, but yeah. And then you need to complete the Unit 1 MCQ. All right. So that is the end of Unit 1 of M1. I'm just gonna stop sharing here now and ask, are there any questions before I proceed to Unit 2 of M1? Anybody got any questions? Anybody?
Godno's had his hand up a few times, and Natasha.
Sorry, who was the first one?
Godno.
Gardner. Okay, hello, Gardner.
God knows.
Oh, God knows. Okay, hello, God knows. You want to ask a question?
He had his hand up a few times, and then Natasha was the other one.
Okay. Let me just want to see whether his microphone. Tumelo, is his microphone enabled? Yes. God knows your microphone is enabled. You can ask. Unmute yourself. No. Okay. And who was the other one that you said, Elmarie? Natasha.
Natasha.
Natasha, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you, Prof. Afternoon, everyone.
Just
a question. There was, I think it was the second slide. I may be wrong. It looked like some sort of an organogram or a flow chart. It was rather small. Couldn't see. I was just wondering, in terms of these presentations for notes, one after the session, want to go back and just scribble some extra notes on the slides, whether they're available. And secondly, how do we get them? And the YouTube channel, how do we access those, please?
Okay, so the PDFs of the presentations are available on the M1 MOOC portal. They will be there, and I will upload all of them tomorrow afternoon when we've done with the series. The recordings will go onto the iSet UNISA YouTube channels. So you'll need to go onto iSet space UNISA on YouTube, and you will get access there. And I think Tumelo will show you around as well when we're done with the session. Yes.
Thanks very much, Prof. Thank you.
Thank you. There we go. Yes, I'll show you now. All right.
God knows, do you want to retry to unmute?
Okay, maybe at the end of the next session. All right. All right. So, so that was building a robot, and you take the components, you build them. Now we've got to make the robot move. And so, just by way of explanation, what we're going to do, your brain, your robot's brain, not your brain, is connected by wires to motors. And remember I said your motors are your outputs. Okay. So what we have to do is we have to just, and this is just simple navigation. We're just doing simple navigation, forwards, backwards, left, right. All right. So if this is your robot and you're driving it, remember the traction is in front because you need to grip on the road. Otherwise, you're going to keep sliding. So here we go with our robot. We're driving our robot. Brum, 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 brum. Now, if the wheels are turning at the same speed, both sides, then your robot is going to go forward. If it goes like this, yeah. There we go. If it changes direction, then the robot will move backwards. Okay. If you have two wheels and you put this motor off and you only turn this, then the robot's going to turn towards the right. If you put off the left motor and you turn the right motor, your robot's going to turn to the left. Okay. I will show you how to test it. You don't need to memorize it. It's just, and I often do, you'll often see me, if you have two wheels and you stop this one, you turn this one, it's going to go this way around. If you stop this one, you turn this one, it's going to go that way around. And of course, you are always going to get somebody in the class who wants to do a wheelie. So one will go forward and one will go backwards and the robot will spin. And that's what you do when you have a class of boys. I had a team. They were called the Destructive Six. They were in grade 6 and there were 6 boys in grade 6 and they were called the Destructive Six. And I think of all my coaching years, I think that was where I developed the most gray hair. But they had so much fun because they were not scared to test things out. They didn't ask me, they just tested it out. And I think that learning and that curiosity is what we want in our learners. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to program. Let me show you how we're going to program. And then we will let Tamela show you onto the MOOC portal. And there we go. Okay. Yes, we can see. Anybody?
Yes, we can see.
Thank you. All right. Let's programming. Okay. So if you have an EV3 robot, initially, well, not initially, it was actually only last year, we used to use the EV3 lab programming, which is not wrong. It's just that we've moved on now. And so everything seems to be focused about the Scratch programming. And so we're moving towards kind of aligning all the learners to the Scratch programming. Okay. If you are still teaching with EV3 lab, won't you just let me know? Yeah, that's the end of that. Obviously now we've got a whole lot of tutorials in EV3 lab and we want to convert them to Spike Prime. So if I've got any volunteers to help with that, that'll be also just cool. Okay. Then EV3 Classroom, you see it looks just like, what do you call it, Scratch. But it downloads onto the brain and it makes the robot move. So it's fine. Okay. And then of course the Spike Prime, your little colorful robot, is just as colorful coding. It's a Spike Prime. Okay. So if you go back to your overview document, you look in M1 overview document, unit 2, and you go and read. So this is some of the content that you can then talk to your learners about. So what are the problems that can occur if the robot doesn't function correctly? And that's tethering on debugging skills. And we do that definitely in M3. I'll tell you more about that. Name the directions in which the wheeled robot can move. Well, it can move forward and backwards now, but it can also move left and right, and it can go in circles. Okay. Explain how a wheeled robot moves. Well, that will be by the brain controlling the motor and the motor turning the axle and the axle turning the wheel and the wheel turning. Just on that, do not assume. Let me just get something there. Oh, this is quite dirty. Do not assume that your learners know that the circumference of the wheel is the distance that the robot will move in one rotation. Okay. And now as I'm talking, I'm trying to see whether I can find a piece of ribbon. I usually have a piece of ribbon here. I'll show you tomorrow. You take a piece of ribbon. It's making it visible. You take a ribbon, you hold it here, and you put it around here. All right, and then like this, and then you take the ribbon off, and then you put that piece of ribbon down on a ruler and say that is the distance it goes in one rotation. I think everything gets lost in that 2 pi r. I don't know. It just goes mathematical, and the learners forget what it actually means. All right, so wheeled robots, and if you do one rotation of this one, and I haven't got a smaller wheel. Oh, I do. One rotation of this and one rotation of that. Where are we going to go further? Well, take that same piece of ribbon and you tie it around here and say, well, this is this distance, and then you take it around here and you put it together and you say, oh, that's that distance, well, that distance and that distance, and this one is further. Okay. And if you go forward one rotation and back one rotation, where do you end? Well, on exactly the same place. It's a positive and negative. Okay. You can also use it to teach maths, just FYI. If you go forward 2 and back 1, so it's plus 2 minus 1.
Dr. House?
Yes.
Just wanted to show them that as you were talking.
Oh, can I pause a bit? Can I pause a bit?
Okay.
Okay, show.
All right. All right. So this is what Dr. Fox was saying. So this is your tire here, and you can see we have a pointer over there. So this is one complete rotation. And then what you do, you simply take any ribbon. This, for example, can be a ribbon. And then I take this ribbon here, and then I cover the whole tire, meaning the whole circumference, like that. So you can see that I've covered the whole tire using the ribbon. And then where the ribbon meets together there, I hold it there. And then what I do, I take my ruler, and then I put my ruler there on the floor. I'll use my centimeters. And then on my side here, it says that this is 17.5 centimeters.
Perfect.
So using the ruler, that means that one complete rotation is 17.5 centimeters. All right, that was it.
Excellent. Thank you, Tamela.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There we go. This is like teamwork here. There we go. Thank you so much. All right. So a lot of practical stuff that the learners can understand, concepts which don't need to be abstract. And I think those are all the kind of benefits that you pick up with robotics education as well. All right. I'm going to again share my screen. See if you're busy. Let's go in here. I've got so much to show you. It's just like, oh, I think our time is nearly running out. Anyway, let's just go. All right, so if you go in the overview document, you go unit 2, here are kind of some of the problems. There's not necessarily a correct answer. It's to get learners to start thinking and talking about it. Okay. So again, you have your 7 objectives, move forward.
Sorry to cut you there, Dr. Host. Just put it on slide mode, please.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
There we go. Thank you.
Okay, now we got to go up. Ding, 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 ding.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, and then you can move it on rotation. So one rotation is obviously what Tamela was just showing there is a rotation of 360 degrees. So you can go into degree mode. So and then 90 degrees will be a quarter of rotation. Okay. Do not think that the learners understand that. It needs to be told multiple times. And then seconds, and we'll get that when we come to powered attachments. We use powered attachments, we use seconds because it might not be able to complete a rotation. All right. And then move forwards and backwards for different power settings. And I tell you, it's one thing, The 100% power goes forwards, backwards, but the first three are just moving. They will start telling you, but it's slipping or it's not stopping properly. It's because there's momentum. There is actually still momentum because your little robot has got mass. Okay, so when you change direction, and these are all the good habits. Number one, when you do powered attachments, you use the time setting. You move on seconds. When you change direction of any motor, you have to add a weight. And initially, you can add it for like 5 seconds, so to make sure that it actually stops. But later, you can move it down to maybe 2 seconds or 1 second. The problem comes in is when your robot, and remember I said to you, we are creating good habits. Your robot's going to become heavier and heavier, and they want to go faster and faster so they can get more points, but that leads to inaccuracies. There's slippage. The wheels get dirty, as you can see over here. The wheels get dirty. We have a way of cleaning these wheels just with a wet cloth. We let it do 10 rotations, and we just hold it like that just to clean it. Dust, dirty wheels, slipping, momentum. These are all the things that add to the inaccuracy of your robot. Okay, and these are lessons learned, and rather get them to do it properly than go a cowboy approach, and then they're not learning to be consistent and reliable. Okay. All right, so I was going to show you on the programming, but I'm going to just go through the presentation, and then tomorrow we'll start with, I'll get a robot charge and we'll do some robots. And I see Tumelo's also got a robot there, so we'll do some activities actual. So to move a robot forward, you've got to set motor C and D. So motor C and D are the ones that are connected to your motors. And we want to go for 3 rotations at 50% power on the left and 50% power on the right. So if both are going 50% power, then they will go forward. All right. Just so you could say, okay, so set motor movement C and D, and you set C to 50 and D to 50, and then you move forward and then you stop. But there's something missing here. I'll tell you now. In the old ways, we would even reset the motors. Reset the motors because there's always an accumulation. But anyway, so it goes forward with 50% power for 3 rotations, and then it stops. Okay. Now, I need to tell you about the hamburger effect. And if a team comes into a judging hall or with a technical interview, and I happen to be interviewing them, I will ask them, what is the hamburger effect? And the hamburger effect is the roll at the top and the other half of the roll at the bottom. All right. So when you eat a hamburger, you always have a top and a bottom. This yellow is the top of your hamburger, and the bottom is the bottom of your hamburger. You need to tell your robot that you are stopping and exiting. Otherwise, your robot's going to keep flashing and saying, no, I'm waiting for something. Okay. So whatever happens in between your start of your hamburger and the bottom of your hamburger, start and end well. Okay. This one was just one motor going clockwise at 75% power and just one movement for 1 rotation. I don't know where it went, but it ends well. When the program starts, when the program stops, and you exit. Okay. All right. So the whole screen is drag and drop. We can do that tomorrow. There is a green button which shows that it's connected actually to the brain. You have to connect it to the brain. Okay. And you can see what is connected. You've got a motor in A and a motor in D. And that is a touch sensor in port number 3. Okay. And just to also note here, we download. We don't download and run. Download and run is the most disastrous because then it means the robot goes off the table and it flies off the table. I really need you to install that in your class. No robot download and run, please. Okay. And down the side here are all your icons. I'm going to let you explore this tonight. And then tomorrow we'll do some actual programming. Tumelo will have his robot and I'll do mine, and I'll clear my robotics table here for the activities. Okay. This is not really unless you're doing still the EV3s, just to make you as your coach or as the teacher life easier. I always said, if this is the robot I'm driving, this wheel is connected to port B and this one is to port C. It allows you to find mistakes in their code quicker, all right? I'm looking out for you to try and saving you time, saving you money, putting you first. Okay. So good programming. We need to reset reset motors. There is a Spike Prime, how to reset the motors. It's good. It's just a good start. Okay. When changing direction, you use the pause or the wait, and forward is positive, backwards is negative. All right. Just good programming. More habits. Save your programs. The class always needs good roles, and they need to be somebody, or somebody needs to be the board monitor and the class monitor and the robot. So somebody has to be the charging monitor in charge of charging. Somebody has to be the backupper, all right, or the backup monitor. So at the end of the class, you put your programs onto a USB or something. So that's the first thing, save your programs. Other one is test your code, please, and we'll do it tomorrow. When you program little bits. So we want to go forward and backwards. No, forward and and then come back. And so the kids just write this long code, then say run, and then it doesn't do it. And they say, oh, man, it doesn't work. You've got to go from there, So you've got to go from here to there. It's the same as your school career. You have starting grade 1 and you've got to get to matric. Well, no, you start in grade 1 and then you go to grade 2 and then you go to grade 3. Increments, all right, little piece of code, and preferably code that can be reused. So if you have a really good piece of code that can follow a line, I'm going to show you how to package it so we use the same piece of code many times. Reuse, recycle. Backups daily, and comments. We've got to add comments into your code so that you know what you're doing, because as the code gets longer, you might forget what it's actually doing. Okay. So here are some really cool resources. If you are doing EV3, you go to EV3 lessons. There are gazillions. So the iSet Robotics has got a curriculum, and we're linking that to these lessons as resources. And we're going to give you a mapping of that. I'm busy with that, and hopefully that'll be out very quickly. All right, then we've got Prime lessons. If you've got Spike Prime, then we've got Builder Dude 35. He's got some really good classroom tutorials. I think it boils down to planning. And so in terms of how you plan your class, I would say do M1 with your class and M2, although you're probably in exams nearly. But at least do M1 before the holidays, and then you can do M2 next term with this sensors and the powered attachments. All right. Maybe you can do it as a holiday program as well. It's also an option. Okay. So just for clarity, we install the software onto a laptop or a computer, and then we code on the laptop, and then we download the code to the brain using USB or a Bluetooth. Then we take the robot to the robot table and we test the code. Okay, and we have backups on the USB. All right. So we've come to the end of Unit 2 on how to program a robot. I have shown you all the resources. I've shown you kind of the approach to have. What I would like you to do tonight is to at least install the software. Okay, and then we will get some robots to move tomorrow. I've got some robots. I will just charge them, and then we will write programs tomorrow. Okay, so in Unit 2, read the Unit 2 objectives. Try at least one unit. Oh, that should be Unit 2. Sorry, building activity. Sorry, that must be a 2 there. And then you complete the Unit 2 MCQ. All right, I think Unit 2 has got 2 MCQs. I'm not sure. No, I don't know. Can't remember. No, only one. All right. And that is the end of my presentation for today. I'm going to ask whether there are any questions. I see it is 4:15 already, and I'm not sure whether. Thank you, Natasha. I'm not sure. Tumelo, do you want to quickly show the participants around the MOOC portal just for M1?
I think, yes, I can, but the reason why we have lots of numbers, I think some of them might be coming from robotics and environmental sciences. And we have new participants. I see even the likes of God Knows is confused, which is very good. We need those that are confused there so that we can unconfuse them. Can I see by the raise of hands those who would like to register for the Massive Open online course, please? so that I can enable your mics. And as I'm sharing my screen, I would like for you to interact with me. Ooh, look at the hands. Right. This is what we're talking about now.
Okay, Tumela, go for it.
Shucks. Okay. This is good, eh?
He's wonderful.
So what I'm doing at the moment, I'm allowing their microphones so that I can go with them. Oh, and again, on Friday last week, I did indicate to them that they should join the session as well and to share with most of their friends. So I see that it's 17 people that need help. It's a good sign. We are going the right direction. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to share my screen. Just hold on a bit. There we go. All right. Please confirm whether you can see my screen.
Perfect. There we go.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? You simply go to UNISA, to Google and type MOOC UNISA. And then once you're done, you will have a UNISA MOOC will be the first one that you see. It will be MOOC Gateway. Welcome to UNISA. I hope we're doing it step by step. And then you have an option whether to go to new account or login required. But normally when you click on the MOOC Gateway, this is the first page that you'll see. All right. So on this page here, you will see that underneath the UNISA logo there's a welcome and how to register, site browser, new account, reset password, and help. So I'm going to encourage all of you to go to the new account tab. Once you are on the new account tab, let me see who's on the, for example, I will focus on God knows. For example, you will say God knows 123 on your user ID. You don't have to include your identification number on your ID or password or passport. You just need to include your identification that this MOOC portal can identify you with. For example, you'll say Tumelo 123. And then on the first name here, you can say, you put in your full name, your last name, and then on your email part, please, on the email part, please put in the email address that we will use when we send you your certificate. So please make sure that you remember the email that you're going to register this MOOC with. And then you create a password, then you verify your password. But before you proceed, I'm going to encourage you to take a picture of everything, because the reason why most of the participants is that they forget their username. If they don't forget their username, they forget their email. If they don't forget their email, they forget their password. Even though there's a reset password tab, but there are some technical issues that one can encounter. So to avoid such, ensure that you take a picture of all of this. Are we all there? God knows, are we there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening and I'm doing it on my laptop now as we are explaining everything.
Perfect. Once you're done, you'll click on create account. On create account, you'll have to put in your user ID as well as your password. So I'll also do the same on my side. This will be your home page. This should be your home page. So underneath the UNISA logo, you'll see that it says overview, profile, membership, calendar, announcement, website, preferences, account, as well as help. So for the purposes of this, we'll focus on the membership. When you click on membership, your screen should look like this, but for some of you, it will say you have not joined any site yet. What you do, you are going to focus on this part where it says joinable sites. Once you click on the joinable sites tab, you will see that there is a variety of websites or courses that the university offers. But for the purposes of this, we are going to focus on ISET Robotics M1 2023. So if you want to find out where will I get ISET Robotics M1 2023, a shortcut can be this part. You simply go on the tab that says search, and then you simply click ISET Robotics. Once you click on ISET Robotics and click on the search tab, it will show you ISET Robotics M1, M2, and M3. What you do, you will click on join wherever you see ISET Robotics M1 2024. That's the part that you need to do after clicking on search. Once you have joined the ISET Robotics M1 2024, it will either appear on my current sites. Here on the bottom, the way it appears on my side, you can see that I've joined different courses here. Or it will appear underneath the UNISA logo as one of the first tabs there. Once it appears there, you can simply click on it. Once you click on it, this will be your home page. On this home page, everything that Dr. Gous, or most of the stuff that Dr. Gous was touching on, is here on Unit 1. So on the Unit 1 tab, this is what basically Dr. Gous was touching on. And for the purposes of you getting to understand what this is all about, because you are new, by the way, so please don't panic. I normally advise new participants to eat an elephant piece by piece. For example, when you click on the overview, it will give you information of what is required, welcome. It will even show you our email address so that if you are experiencing problems after this, you can send us an email and then we can take it from there. It will also show you the aim of this portal, that it is definitely to equip educators, students, and community leaders to coach and mentor teams of learners in robotics and to explore and discover the exciting world of robotics. And then once you are done reading here, you will be advised to go to the honor code syllabus, where you can even get different types of lesson plans and overview documents. And then it will be easy for you to understand what this course is all about. I assume that I've touched this. Are we all there?
Yes, I'm here and I'm doing everything as you're explaining here. Thank you very much.
All right. Tapelo, are you in?
Yebo.
All right. Helen, are you in? Janifeike, Mukoti, are you in? I see most of the hands are still up.
I'm in.
All right. If you are in, please lower your hand now, because it should be fine now. This was me testing whether is everyone still with us. And I'm glad that we are here. And if you do have a question, feel free to unmute yourself, because I've allowed your microphone as well. And I see the hands are going down, Dr. Gous. I think I've done the right thing.
It looks good.
If you do have a question, please unmute yourself. But if you are in and all is well, it's good. Yes, God knows. I see your microphone is unmuted.
Okay, and then as you were explaining, I just go on the syllabus, okay?
No.
So,
yes.
This is the lessons that is the lessons plan, or is where I'll be studying. I want to understand here what is happening after I click syllabus.
Wait, before you click syllabus, as I've indicated, you will have to click on every tab. There's an overview tab where you have to read everything that's here. You will click on the honor code. You will read what is on that tab. You will click on syllabus. And like I said, on syllabus, you'll find the M1 overview document, which is this one. Okay. You'll see what the information is there, overview, final as well as here. And then each and every tab has information in it. Once you are done, you go to announcement, you will see the previous announcements. And then you go to Unit 0 pre-MOOC questionnaire. You go to Unit 1 building. This will be very good for you to read so that you know what is required for you to complete. Please note that each unit has 10 multiple choice questions, and it takes 30 minutes for you to complete. Any other questions? I think I'm done. It's easy as like that.
Once I attempt the test, then after 30 minutes, I'll be done, or there is a re-attempt again?
Let's not focus on reattempt, but it is there. But for now, each unit is 30 minutes for you to complete those 10 multiple choice questions that are very easy because of Dr. Hoos has given you some few tips on her presentation.
All right, thank you very much.
Okie dokes. Any other question from our participants? Feel free to unmute yourself. If your hand is still up, that means you have a question. Unless you can lower your hand. All right, I see hands are being lowered down. If you do have a question, unmute yourself for those that your hands are still up. Otherwise, I'll hand over to...
my question would be...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, my question would be, how do you... in a case of a person who has the login details already, I saw the question in the chat box, and I think it hasn't been answered in the chat box.
Okay. So what's up?
Yeah. So my question is, some of the people like me maybe might have registered already before this one. So do we have to re-register again, or you just have to use the login details that we already have?
Yes, please use the login details that you already have. There's no need for you to register. And if it does give you problems, please send me an email so that I can escalate that matter and we can assist you. But you don't have to register again.
Okay, thank you. Please drop your email address in the chat box.
Okie dokes. Any other questions from online participants?
Yes, hi, afternoon. Sorry, I know you've now already shown us out where to get the course, the syllabus, but I just lost you for a minute. Can you just show me that first part? So once I log in, then where do I go to that MOOC 1 2024?
All right, so I assume that your page is like this, correct?
Yes, yes.
All right, so underneath the UNISA logo, there's overview, profile, as well as membership. Can you see that membership tab?
Yes.
You simply click on the membership tab. Once you are done, click, and then it will say on your site, you have not joined any site yet. You don't have to panic when you see that message. You simply focus on this tab that says joinable sites. Can you see that?
I see it, yes.
Once you click joinable sites, on your right-hand side here next to the search tab, can you see my cursor there?
I see it, yes.
You simply type iSet Robotics.
Okay.
Once you're done typing iSet Robotics, you click on search, and then it will appear below here. It will be
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. I just needed that first part. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? If you don't have, okay, and Dombi, your hand is up. I've allowed your microphone. Go for it.
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm a latecomer. I'm not sure if this has been addressed. I've been trying to get hold of a robotics kit in KwaZulu-Natal, and I was hoping that I'd get assistance, please.
Over to you, Dr. Hoos.
Okay, so are you at a primary school or at a high school?
At a high school.
Okay, are you the robotics teacher?
Not particularly. I just want to basically learn robotics. It's basically the I don't even know how to put it, but I'm not at a school currently. I'm an educator, but I'm not currently teaching.
Okay, because we do have grants, we have loan equipment that's available, but for schools to advance robotics in the schools. So maybe just send me an email and we can chat about it. Okay. But it's really only for schools because we need robotics teams of learners.
Oh, okay. Because I remember the last you had spoken about science centers in the previous. I think I had joined previous webinars rather in the past.
Okay.
And you had spoken about science centers.
Science centers do have robotics kits. That's absolutely true. If you go up to your local science center, you're welcome to go and work with them.
Okay. All right, I'll try that. Thank you. But I will drop you an email as well. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right. Tumelo, I see you've still got 3 hands up.
The hands are lowering down. Please note that if your hand is up, the microphone has been enabled, so feel free to ask a question if you do have. Otherwise, you can lower your hand. All right, I see they are not asking any questions. Dr. Gous, ek is klaar.
Yeah, this has been a marathon session. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for participating, really, and for asking really great questions. Yes, so now comes the homework. Download the software. Let's see whether we can make these robots move tomorrow. We're going to do navigation, and then we're going to do some passive attachments. Okay, until tomorrow, 3 o'clock then. Thank you very much. Thank you to my team here as well, to Almarie, to Anzani, and to Mello. It's been a really great session, and we'll see each other then tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Have a good evening.
Please stop the recording.
I was going to say, as always, I need to just remember to stop the recording. Thank you. There we go.